everyone. Welcome to Elevate Your Game. I am your wonderful host of our wonderful weekly series, Mrs. Denise Parker. I am the Director of Internships and Careers for our National College Resources Foundation and the Black College Expo and the Latino College Expo and all our expos. We have so many opportunities that are for our young people and for our college age people, alumni, because our mantra is from college, careers, and beyond. So those who are graduating out of high school, thinking about college or some type of certification program, or wanting to continue their education and go back to school, adult learners, we are here for you. We provide tons of resources, and part of our resources is doing this weekly series called Elevate Your Game because it's all about serving the community. Right now, we're in the beautiful Chi-Town representing for our Black College Expo coming up. We are going to make an announcement about that. But before we really dive deep into our subjects, I am just super excited because we are closing out this beautiful first quarter of the year, which is also the month of March. Women's Heritage Month is so much going on. So let's talk about it. Let's get into our announcements and elevate your game so that you guys can see what is going on. Yay, me. So here's our special announcements. And today we're going to be talking about mental wellness, and it's a lot going on in mental wellness, and we want to encourage our people, our listeners, to support the mental wellness. That everything about mental wellness is about our physical, mental, social, emotional health. And one of the key leaders in this is a woman by the name of Jennifer Eberhardt. She's an esteemed professor of psychology at Stanford University in California. She is an expert on the consequences of psychological association between race and crime, and she has done extensive research on the topics of implicit bias, criminal justice, and the education system. And her work has provided the evidence needed to educate law enforcement officers in implicit bias training, which is super important for our community. Um, we are super excited because we want to highlight the women who are changing the conversation on what it means to talk about mental health, mental wellness, and how it affects the people of our community. And this woman, Jennifer Eberhardt, she's doing the work. She's basing it on science and research and applying it to the professionalism in the criminal justice system and the education systems. So thank you so much for all your work that you do at Stanford and for the greater good of the community at large. And next we have, let's see, our next slide. We also are talking about the wonderful things that we are doing at the Black College Expo. We are here hosting the Black College Expo at Chicago State University. It is featured 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are right here in the great state of Illinois. You're going to come to our College Expo. You can register at www.thecollegeexpo.org, meet recruiters, attend seminars. How to find money for college, the 401 for the student athlete, why attend an HBCU, booming careers, how to start a business. This is excellent. We have so many different opportunities. So I'm super excited to share that. And also, let's see what else we got going on here. NCRF is hiring. I'm super excited about us hiring because guess what? We're hiring right here in our home state, California. The Movement Enrichment Program, we have tons of opportunities for peer advisors to do some social emotional support in the schools in San Diego County, and also in the schools throughout all of our movement professions. We also have tutoring, for math and science and English. We need help. So if you live in the San Diego territory, this would be a great opportunity for you to get work with young people in high school. We usually work from middle school to high school, and there are some programs that we have that are in the elementaries, but mainly we're in middle schools and high schools throughout Southern California. So if you want to be hired, scan that QR code. And also, there's wonderful opportunities for students if you're interested from 16 and up. Now, this is the age bracket from 16 and up. So you can be a high school student at the age of 16, that's ninth, 10th grade. Cybersecurity, digital marketing, IT specialist, help desk, anything that you need support in technical support, multimedia production, software engineering. This is an opportunity. If you do qualify, you can get your tuition rate waived, and all you have to do is just fill out those prompts that are located after you scan that QR code. Great opportunity if those who want to seek careers that are more for skilled work. If you're in the Atlanta area, this is a wonderful opportunity. You can learn skills in healthcare, receive coaching from the NP the Nurse Practitioners Boot Camp. This is for teens only, so this is high school students only. You scan that QR code to find out more information about it. I like to share this. They were on, Dr. Patrice Little was on about a few weeks ago, and she did share all the different major opportunities in the healthcare space and how there's a large demographic of healthcare workers aging out and retiring. And we want to encourage our people to actually seek these careers so they can be representations within their hospitals, within their own community. So if you want to be CPR and first aid training certification, this is a great place to jumpstart your career or learn about nursing skills, learn the healthcare basics. This is where you want to go. She's a wonderful advocate, and she also was featured at our Atlanta Black College Expo. So scan that QR code to find out more information. NCRF, which that's the Black College Expo also, we have an HBCU basketball showcase coming up, and that is April 7th and 8th at Linwood High School. It's an in-person event, of course. Tons of HBCU college recruiters are going to be there looking for the next talent. Who's going to be the next Steph Curry, LeBron James, who you know, you name your favorites. Come to the basketball showcase and highlight your talent so that you can get recruited by a college. You could be a high school student or a junior college student who wants to transfer into an HBCU. So this is a perfect opportunity for you. We also have an HBCU football combine, and that's the 28th and the 29th. This is another opportunity. This is also going to be at Linwood High School in California, which is in person. HBCU football coaches are going to be there to recruit. And I forgot to make this announcement on our basketball showcase on April 7th and 8th. It's also co-ed. It's male and female. One day it's going to be male. The other day it's going to be female. We're going to do both. So definitely scan those QR codes to actually find out the details of that information. Our student athletic program is very robust. It really helps you understand the NCAA qualifications and how the transition out of high school into college is. So definitely want to see all the information we have on that QR code. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm super excited. So before we really get started into the conversation on mental health and how you can become proactive within mental health, we're going to have a different conversation. Give me a second. I want to make sure I can see all my slides. And you see me right here. I want to make myself a little bit bigger. That's better. I want to invite a special guest on to talk about some more opportunities that we have, special announcements that she wants to share. And are you ready, Chief? Thumbs up. All right, I'm going to bring to the stage Chief Attica Bowden out of the San Francisco Fire Department. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Welcome to Elevate Your Game. And I just wanted to say kudos to you. You're a retired chief and in the fire prevention department. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you on to our show?
Absolutely. I think our connection started with what we were speaking about being the second chapter of my life, but it's been the way that I was raised. So it's really a continuation, and that's a wonderful foundation that I started 5 years ago that offers a workforce development. So it helps with what we think is a barrier for getting our brown and Black community into the first responder sector. So I have a stipend paid EMT program in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it's just a continuation, of my give back. I come from a family of, my mom was a Black Panther, so we only knew how to elevate, push, and push the envelope and speak our truths, even back in the 70s. So here we are in 2023, unfortunately still with the need, but still with the desire and, trying to make things happen for our young community.
I love it. So being a chief, now you're retired. This is the second chapter of your life, going to the education side and helping on board and legacying more people into this field. Why are you doing what you're doing? Like, what is the most important? You're a female, you're a Black woman. I know it's a good old boys club. And how is it? How was your journey, and why are you doing the second chapter in your life?
I think for me, I always thought in my 25 years that being in the department was enough of the give back, because I'm present. You would see me on the rigs. I would speak to my community. My whole community knew that I was in the department. They knew, and they followed me as I rose through the ranks from firefighter through to chief. But what I found is when I speak to people, they would say, "Oh, I always wanted to be a firefighter. I just didn't know. I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know where to start." And so that was part of the spark is, well, let me create something that kind of wraps our arms around you, starts you at the very entry level. I know you're speaking about mental health. So part of what we do is I think part of our program's success is about the wraparound services. And one of the big things that we do are healing circles every Fridays, just trying to unlayer some of the trauma that some of us don't even know exist, and that shows up in our adult life, the little kids that have been hurt inside of us. And so that was part of it, was to just make sure that we provide a space where the students don't have to code switch in order to kind of grasp the information, and that we take them on as our village and we support them through the whole process.
And how many people of color, especially Black people, do you see in the San Francisco Fire Department? Is it growing because of what you're doing now, or are there more interest now that you're going out into the community and showing a different pathway to get into the fire department? What has been your feedback? Or just
definitely more interest. There's definitely interest. People are excited about our program. We were just awarded some additional funding and for expansion, which I thought was really noble and kind of honoring the program and all the work that we do. In regards to data and the numbers, there were 40 African-American women in the department when I entered in 1997. I think they're hovering around 20 right about now. So are they doing better? I don't know if they're really doing better, but they are aware. And I do give kudos to the current chief that she is speaking about it, and it's not hiding behind the numbers that are not just increasing. I'm happy to say that 4 of the African-American males that are participants of my program are currently in the Fire Academy. So are we helping? We're doing the best that we can and getting them suited and ready as best as we can. Yeah.
What can people expect to learn in your program? What is an EMT real quick, and what are they expecting to learn?
Sure. So EMT is emergency medical technician. It is a state licensing certification. It requires 160 hours of curriculum, and then you take a state test, and then you're ready to at least begin entry level on an ambulance. It's a minimum qualification for a lot of firefighter positions. And so then they can qualify. My students want to go on several different routes, EMT or firefighter. Some are back and going to nursing school. We have one student that is currently in med school. And so
they can actually learn a skilled trade and then apply it as they're going to school. And that's what we really encourage here at
Yes.
NCRF. We really want people to develop more trades. So as they're majoring in their going to, medicine or whatever degrees are majoring in, psychology, whatever it is, they have these skills and they can make money, earn while they learn, kind of, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
That's great. That's
Yes.
great. And that will actually keep encouraging them to continue on with school, because a lot of people get discouraged, the cost,
Absolutely.
the time, and then all of a sudden they got to find their career right after, or find a job right after they graduate. So this is
Absolutely.
excellent. So I love it. So what will they learn specifically in the EMT program?
So we definitely day 1 and 2 are first aid and CPR training, and then we do a host, I think 2 weeks of medical terminology, initial vital signs, taking blood pressure, pulse oximeters, and taking lung sounds and things of that nature. And throughout the course, you learn trauma assessment as well as a medical assessment. So somebody having a medical crisis, a stroke, a GI bleed, a heart attack versus a car accident or a fall, a suicide, a childbirth, because we do birth children in the field. So things of
Yeah.
that nature.
We see the shows. I'm one of my favorite shows is Chicago Fire, or one of those kind of shows, and we don't give our kudos to our law enforcement and our first responders, such as the fire department and the EMTs that come on to the scene in a crisis. And it's really hard, the mental stress. How is it being just, we can only imagine, based on what's been, sensationalized on television. But what is the mental stress like for you guys?
I think that there's some definite coping skills that come very early on, as far as compartmentalizing. You go from one call to another call. You don't really have the time to process. There's no finality for you from one incident to another. So we kind of therapy with each other, which may not be the healthiest, but the time when we're breaking bread, because we live in the firehouses for 24 hours, those are the times when we try and decompress. I think the departments are all more aware of critical stress debriefing when we have major incidents, especially line of duty deaths, child deaths, mass shootings, and things of that nature. So they're much more proponents of it. And I'm happy to see the growth in that. And then I think that everybody needs a therapist. For me, I needed two, one for home and I needed one for work.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
I thank you, Chief Bowden, for all the things that you're doing. You're retired. You're starting the second chapter. You're a young retiree. Come on now. Looking good. And flossing and just moving to the next and pulling people up and leaning in. And how can they find you? I put the website up. What can they find on the website? How to sign up?
So they'll find a host of information about our program. We are in San Francisco, but we're partners with another program that's in Alameda County, which is in the East Bay. So they offer the program. Their cohorts are sometimes aligned with ours as well. We also have a really big fair coming up, centered around National Responder Day in October that we're super excited about. It's going to be the first that I'm aware of, which is a first responder career pathways fair. So we're bringing all of our organizations under one umbrella for the teenagers and the young adults to come and be exposed to the awareness.
So you guys must live in the Bay Area to partake in this opportunity. This is a great opportunity, especially if you're transitioning out of high school and learning how to become a skilled, in the first responding fields. This will be an excellent opportunity to learn and get pipeline into becoming eventually a firefighter. Hopefully, if that's your career path, then you definitely want to seek out Chief Bowden and see all the initiatives she has. Thank you for joining us. Please stay on just for a few minutes if you don't mind.
Yeah,
I'll put you back in the backstage and we'll have a conversation when we move on to the next. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, I'm super excited to see you in the next couple of days.
Okay.
All right, now we're getting started. It's time. It's get ready to rumble. We have our mental health conversation, and we have our lovely, lovely Miss Faith. How you doing?
Hello, 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 everyone. I'm
Yes.
great. Kind of. We just finished midterms. So,
So we're going to be talking about mental health. Are you excited about this conversation?
I am. This has been something I've wanted to talk about for a while, something glad to expand on. Um, and I'm kind of excited to see where it goes and what it kind of conversations it tumbles into.
Well, I'm super excited about it. I want to make sure that I can see you really well and better. Let's see, I get a better, yeah, there it is, a view. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Faith, and what's your major. I know you're my sidekick. You're my right hand. When people don't know what's working on behind the scenes, it's Faith. Faith, HBCU, FAMU student. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. I am a junior at FAMU, the number one public HBCU. And what is it? I guess in terms I'm qualified to have this conversation because I am a junior psych major. I've gone through 3 years of my major classes. I'm currently working on a research project about, mental wellness. So in that way, I kind of know a little bit of what I'm talking about. Um, just don't have the degree to show it yet, but we're working on it.
But this is what we do. We try to
Right.
highlight
We're
you.
getting to that point.
Yes. And this is an important conversation. So, who do you have on for our special guest today?
All right. So joining us today is Miss Annie Hobson. She works at Active Minds. She is their K through 12 student manager. I want to say either manager or leader. Um, my bad for getting the title wrong. But yeah, she's joining us with Active Minds. Active Minds is a nonprofit that works with helping K through 12 with mental health resources, creating their own as well as providing them. So
Well, let's bring her on. Are you ready, Annie? Thumbs up. She's ready to go.
What up? What
Welcome.
up?
So, we're having this conversation. Are you excited to be here?
I am excited to be here and thank the two of you. I'm thanking the two of you for bringing us on, bringing me on, letting me speak on this platform. Exciting, exciting. And it's nice to have this conversation because, as we know, mental health is something that people just don't talk about enough. We're moving to that, but it's just something that we have to talk about more and more, especially in our community.
Well, I'm going to add Chief Attica too, because I think we can have a wonderful conversation as we're going through this conversation. I'm going to add our slides on. We'll see if I can do all three. But yes, I can. I can do it all. So this is super exciting. So go ahead, Faith. Go ahead and start. How do you want to start the conversation in general?
Alrighty, so we're going to get into mental wellness. We're going to talk about how you can be proactive about your mental health, what it means to not just wait until you're not okay to get some help and some support. All right, so what is mental wellness? Mental wellness is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes their own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, they can work productively and fruitfully, and they are able to make a contribution to his or her community. So essentially, mental wellness is taking care of yourself. It's just like when you go to the doctor for a checkup. You're not going because there's anything wrong. You're going just to make sure everything is okay. And so mental wellness is essentially the same thing. And so one thing that I would love to hear from is from both Miss Hobson and Miss Bowden. I'm sorry. What is your guys' definition of mental wellness, and how do you guys view mental wellness?
Chief, you want me to take this one first?
Definitely go first. Go right ahead.
All right. So you know what, Faith, for me, I think we don't even need to dig into like the clinical terms and make it so complicated. To me, mental health is our mind, our body, and our soul, and it's how we treat it. And we have a duty to ensure that we nourish our mind, our body, and our soul with the things that make us feel great. And so growing up, I constantly heard your mind is not the only thing you need to take care of. It's your body, it's your soul. So it's that complete person. It's the whole part of, the whole piece of you, So I say mind, body, and soul.
How would you add to that conversation, Chief?
I would, she was a great segue for me, because when I think about mental wellness, I think about fight or flight. And I think about knowing your body and understanding when the endorphins are beginning to release themselves, even via conversation. What they say now is, I'm not going to let you invade my peace. But so that within itself is mental wellness. I'm not going to allow you to steal my joy. That is about mental wellness and setting the boundaries, getting off the phone with the best friend who is too antagonistic, who brings the drama all the time, every time that they call. It's those boundaries, because it's not the far circle and it's not the enemy. It's the people who you let up close and near and into your vest that can invade your mental wellness. So I just say, keeping it aligned, like Ms. Hobson is saying about the mind, the body, and the soul and your spirit.
She touched on something deep, though. She touched on something real deep.
She touched on it. And it's so, like, you're speaking from the perspective of, like, you came from a very stressful environment working, that 9 to 5, and you're seeing constant trauma. Us day to day, we're just dealing with traffic and paying the bills and just life. When you add elements to it and you don't have those breaks, those moments, what happens?
So we need the breaks. I will tell you that, so firefighter schedule, we work the 24-hour shift and we're in quarters, so to speak. We're available at the firehouse for 24 hours, and then we can be off 2 days. Some shifts you're off 4 days. I have had to go home and really decompress. I'm not free to do anything because I'm not present and I'm not in my right space. I'm having to uncompartmentalize, the different visuals, smells, crying, the audio, everything is wrapped into my head. And you don't get to leave it at the firehouse every watch. It comes with you. It gets in your car. It picks up your kids with you. It's in your partnerships with you. So you have got to take some days off for yourself, walks, sunsets, water, whatever it is that can let go of some of that and know that it's not you. It doesn't belong to you. You don't own it. Don't hold on to it, because it'll show up ugly and in other ways.
Excellent.
That is amazing. She actually touched on some stuff we're going to get into a little later as well. All right. So what mental wellness is not. Mental wellness is not an absence of mental illness. So just because you may not have a mental illness does not mean that you don't have to take care of your own mental health. You don't take care of your physical health just because you caught a cold. You don't take care of your physical health to, make sure you take care of your physical health to make sure you don't catch a cold, to make sure you're not getting the flu. We literally have been in a pandemic for 3 years. And that goes to show you don't just do things once it hits, you do it preventatively. Mental wellness is not happiness. Happiness is an emotion. Sometimes you are happy, sometimes you're not. And when you're not happy, that doesn't mean that you're not well. You can be not happy and still be well. So mental wellness is trying to help you achieve a state of being able to function and take care of yourself mentally. It is also not the absence of struggle. Life is hard. Things happen, things hit. And like Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And so just because you're not struggling doesn't mean that you don't have a health to take care of. It doesn't, just because some things aren't going wrong doesn't mean that you can put your mental health on the back burner. Like I said, mental wellness is being proactive. You're trying to prevent things from happening. So when there are struggles, you can kind of take that time to, you already know what you need to do to take that time to woosah.
I love it. So let me ask a question to just real quick to our audience and to our guests. It's like, the question is, how are you? There's something on the Active Minds website. You guys asked us, are you good? Or is that the question that you guys have on those t-shirts? Something like that. It's like,
you good?
You good?
You good? Yes,
You
and
good?
that's literally how you can start the conversation. I think sometimes we get so hung up and we're so afraid that we're going to say the wrong thing. We're going to put our foot in our mouths. You can have the conversation or start the conversation with a friend, with your homies, with your buddies, with your crew, by just saying, "You good?" and having a conversation, and letting them have the foundation or letting them have the floor and explain, man, this is going on in my life. You can easily start the conversation with just those two words, "You good?" And we do that in our community all the time. "You good, bro? You good? Sis, you good?" And it literally just sparks conversation. And you have no idea how much pressure is released from that individual, from being given the space to say, "You know what, actually I'm not. Let me tell you what's going on." And so when we are working, so in my space, Chief Bowden, you mentioned being able to basically, or not being able to really unpack on the job. For me, in working with youth, I've been working with youth over 15 years in several different spaces. And one of the spaces is working with kids who have been impacted by trauma, and seeing those babies' faces, and they're coming right in after being victimized of something. So I'm coming from those spaces, and so I understand the importance of providing our students with the resources and tools that they need to facilitate these conversations, because we don't give our students enough credit. They actually are having these conversations anyway. And that is what Active Minds does. We literally create those resources and we put them in the hands of these young students, these young adults, and we say, facilitate it. We're in the background giving support, but we have to give space for people to have the conversations about the things that are going on in their life. We have to normalize it more.
I love it. I love it. Okay, we're going to the. Oh, I've added. There we go.
Okay. So ways to improve your mental health are support. Support will always come through. Support will always help you improve on yourself professionally, academically. So it only makes sense that it will also help you mentally. Optimism. Looking for that silver lining. Things aren't always great, but there's going to at least be one thing that'll help you push through. Exercise, getting out, moving your body, looking at the sun, doing something that keeps you from just sitting in your funk. Volunteering, helping others, making other people smile, and allowing other people to put a smile on your face as well. Coping skills, what that looks like for you as a person, what it looks like to try to find those coping skills, and then self-care. Take care of yourself. Be selfish for a day, for an hour. Be selfish and just have that time for yourself and take care of yourself. Um, so we're gonna actually move on to the next slide real quick.
Oh, okay. This is great. This
Into
is great. I love this conversation, how it's leading. And you guys chime in if you feel like this is like speaking to you and you find that support or optimism is a little bit, whatever it is. Just
I
please.
definitely want to speak on something, the
Okay,
self-care.
go ahead.
yeah,
So this is the
so that
self-care
was
piece. I just
overview.
go ahead, Faith. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say that's an overview of all the things we're going to get into. So we're going to
Okay.
go a little bit deep dive into all of those sections.
All right. Cool. Well, I will wait.
They all are important and they all deserve their own little segment of time.
All right.
But so first is going to be support, is just asking for help. It is always going to be okay to say that you are not okay. The first step is always going to be admitting that you're not okay. And then after that, it's going to be asking for support. And, it's going to be hard because for a lot of us, we may not like to admit that there are things we can't do. And so sometimes, you just have to be like, hey, dog, I can't do that. Today is not the day for that. So it might be a little easier said than done, but when it's available, use it. Use it.
With support, real quick, Chief Bowden, I know you've came across some instances just in your just day to day, whether it's on your job or just because you're well trained, you see a domestic violence or a person getting abused, and you're like, whoa. And you're trying to give them a hint, like, you can talk to me, don't look at the badge, don't look at the uniform, or don't look at the family member, or don't look at the sister. And like, you can actually, I'm okay, I'm a safe space. Can you speak on that just a little bit, just how support can be a bias in our community sometimes, or not be utilized properly?
Yes, domestic violence cases, CPS cases, we're required notifiers. So I can talk to you as nice as I want to and say, for support in the moment. I've done more apologies than anything else because I'm required to activate some notification that is outside of the village, so to speak. So you taking it outside the house. So I do what I can on the scene, but like I said before, the part of the compartmentalizing is the lack of finality of something. I can talk to you while I'm on the scene, but I have to go. I'm only there in the moment. That's the part that is, I think, when you talk about firefighters and police officers and the compartmentalizing that's some of the mental health. Like, how do you unpackage something? It's like a person passing and all you do is you hear about it, but you don't go to the service. You don't get to see the obituary. You don't get to you ever don't really sit in that space. You don't watch them. You don't go to the burial site. So for us to be on a scene and package a person and send them on their way, what happened after that? Mm-hmm. It's a one-time shot. You don't really see them. So we do the best that we can. And there's some internal classes for our department that teach us how to be on scene, give the most that you can while you can.
Yeah. But it's also about finding those support mechanisms within your own community that you have actually created outside of the professional support, like the ones that are coming on the scene. Like, it's hard, and and people don't take, what do? They check it off and say, yeah, we don't need I don't need any help, I'm okay, I'm all good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What do you feel like, Annie, that comes in, into play when you're talking to young people who really are going through some stuff, whether it's really traumatic and dramatic like you see on television, to something that's really simple?
Yeah. I think following that whole narrative within our own community, creating the resources that we are creating at Active Minds, and my team is creating, we are putting a strong focus on our BIPOC and LGBTQ youth, because that narrative, growing up Black, we don't need no help. We good. We don't need to talk about anything outside of this house. And we do. Our melanin, our skin is stronger than the uniform of Superman. But even Superman took that cape off. And it is okay for us to ask for help. But that narrative that we don't deal with anxiety, that we don't deal with depression, we have to continuously break through that, because we do. And we have to teach our young Black and brown students, babies, that it is okay to ask for help. When you look at the determinants of health, it is a wide range or wide list of disparities and inequities that hit our community hard. Mm-hmm. We do deal with mental health. And so tearing that narrative, tearing that stigma up and throwing it away is vital to the new gen that's coming up, our generation now. It's vital. It's okay to ask for help. And so I love that Faith has this slide on here. It is okay to ask for help. I will say it again. It is okay to ask for help.
This is the first generation in our lifetime that I think that mental health is a real conversation in the forefront.
They're having it.
They're having it. They are checking in. They are not okay with being not okay.
Nope. and they are pushing us, telling us, look, this is what we need. And we need to listen to them.
Yeah, we need to listen.
Faith is literally telling us what they need, what they want. And we're listening.
Thank you, Faith. Go ahead, Faith. Next slide.
All right. So some quick resources, because if I'm gonna tell you that it's okay to ask for help, here's some places where you can ask for help. So there's the National Suicide Hotline. They switched the number, so it's real quick and easy for you to remember. It's 988. You can call them, you can text them. It is 24 hours. There is always going to be someone there to help you, and it's free. It's
And
free.
anonymous too, right? It is anonymous. They don't like
Um,
publicize your
and you don't have to
information.
be in crisis to use it. You do not have to be in crisis to use it. You could just need a quick listening ear. Um, and they have that. They also have other resources available on their website. You can just Google National Suicide Hotline, um, and they have other resources available there as well. Get help. This helped me find my therapist, and I love her. So, what you can do with Get Help is you put in your insurance and you put in the aspects of a therapist that you're looking for. So, I knew I needed my therapist to be a Black woman. I knew I needed her to be understanding of the LGBT community, of autism, of a bunch of other stuff. And you can filter through all of the um, therapists. You can find out what states they're licensed in to find a therapist that is going to work for you. Now, it's not going to be 100% guaranteed because, of course, you have personality differences, but it makes it a lot easier. And it makes it a lot easier in knowing that, the therapist takes your insurance. You don't have to have that second guess of, oh, is it going to be covered? Um, do you? That's part of what you do when you're looking for it. And so we also have Psych and Melanated Mental Health. If you're looking for a Black therapist, these are amazing sites to find them as well. Therapy for queer people of color. If you want to get a little more specific in that as well, we have it for you guys. Now, again, not all of these are free. If you will have to double check on the insurance to make sure that it's covered if you have insurance. If not, then what other options are available with the therapist themselves rather than it being right there for you. And then if you just want to increase your knowledge, do some research, find some credible sources, there's the Association of Black Psychologists. I am currently on the student circle board for the Association of Black Psychologists. And I can say we do a lot of double checking when it comes to students' research as well as professionals' research. It is a great resource for students, whether you're a psych major or not, um, just to have, just to get that information on the current world of mental health within the Black community. Okay, so on to section 2 of optimism. You're going to look at your cup either half empty, you're going to look at it half full, or you're going to look at it half as is. So when it's half empty, you have more of a negative outlook to stuff. It's like, well, I mean, I'm already halfway done with the cup. Like it is what it is. Or you can look at a cup half full and be like, hey, I still got a little more room that, things can get poured into. There's still more room for good things to happen. Or you just look at it as is. The cup is halfway full, but it's also not completely full. You see things as they are realistically. Um, and going into optimism, you kind of just want to have a more looking for the silver lining. You can see things for what they are, for the reality of it. It may not be great, it may not be bad. You can see things for the reality of it, but that also means that you still should look for a silver lining. You be like, hey, today was a trash day, but at least I got to have my favorite snack. You know what I mean? You got to find that one thing that kind of just pushes you or that makes you smile. Um, and being like, hey, today wasn't great, but I still have tomorrow to look forward to. You find a silver lining that kind of gives you that oomph to finish off your day and start your next one. And in that, I would love to hear how you guys look at optimism. And if you guys are more of a half empty, half full, or reality type of person.
Ooh.
I will say for me, real quick.
Go
I am
for it.
half full.
Okay.
Even if you count me out, I'm still half full. I just half full.
Nothing
I
wrong
said I
with
can
that.
only look at the one way, half full.
I would say the same for me, but I am also a person that I look at the reality of things. Okay, I half full, very positive, optimistic, but it's like goal setting. You set goals that you know you're gonna achieve, that you know you have a time frame for. So that's how I am.
I think I'm a half full person as well. Type A for sure, personality. Um, and I'm all about, if it's something that didn't go my way or wasn't as expected, the lesson. It's a lesson. If it's not a win, it's a lesson. If it's a hard lesson, I want to actually turn into it, embrace it more, because I don't really like the hard lessons. I don't want to repeat them.
Right.
So what do I need to learn is what I'm asking my higher spirit, so that I can do better the next time and move on to the next lesson.
Right.
So I'm all about half full.
So true.
Mm-hmm.
Those lessons.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we're gonna get into being active. One thing that helps me when I am having a really bad day, going outside and seeing the sun, being able to feel the sun on my skin and just receiving that light. I don't know what it is. I've always loved being outside and in the sun. And sometimes it's just that simple. It's just that simple as getting up and going outside, taking a breath of fresh air, opening up your window. You don't have to go out and run. You don't have to go do a whole workout. If that's what helps you, go for it. But you don't have to. It can be something really as simple as walking to your front door, opening it, and looking outside. Opening up your blinds, getting some type of movement in your body so that you're not just sitting in your current set of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what are ways that you guys find yourselves getting out and being active when you're down in the dumps a little bit?
You want me to go first this time?
Yeah, go for it,
Annie. So I had some hard times in my 25 years, some really dark days in the fire department, just the struggle of being an African-American woman. I really was born and raised, hit the streets at 14. So I had to undo a lot of that conflict resolution that I had learned there. And I was struggling with it. So in the midst of the therapy and digging deep into myself, I fell in love with gardening. It got me closer to my mom, who came from the Jackson, Mississippi, and teaching me about the soil and you don't need no gloves. If you don't take them gloves off, if you don't take those gloves off and become one with who we, with nature and feel fresh soil in your hands and clean your flowers and your bushes and she taught me how to talk to them and all of that stuff. So that probably saved my psyche more than anything else. The ability, I could be outside for hours and planting new plants, and she taught me how to garden food, not just flowers. And it is my joy. I do exercise, but I exercise at the gym, so it's not that sunshine out with nature kind of deal. So gardening has been my go-to, and it still is.
Awesome. Nice. I will say for me, while black don't crack, my bones do. And and as I've gotten older, my physical activity just ain't the same. So I do love watching nature, though. It's something that I do with my father, and I did with my grandfather. And I also love fishing. This black girl loves fishing. And so I'm out there on the bank and I'm fishing because it's something that brings me peace. It's something that connects me to my roots, to my grandfather, my grandmother, my mother. So being on that fishing bank does something for me. It is energizing.
Yeah.
I like that, Annie.
I like that.
Really like that. I've heard so much. People who fish do not play, just like gardeners. People who are fish,
my husband's a fisher.
It's almost unexplainable to the non-fishing people, right? They just trust what I'm telling you.
Yes, trust the process.
Trust the process. So I'm happy to hear. And do I hear African-American women talk about fishing? Not a lot, but for my girlfriends that do, they are all in. They can't get up early for anything else, right?
Yes,
on time, But
She,
you
that's when the fish bite. You got to get up early.
What
I'm
I
happy to hear someone else in our, Black girl magic circle that embraces something that is not
Definitely.
traditionally known for us to be a calming mental wellness space.
One of the things that I love about us is that we are creative people.
Mhm.
100%.
And I'm a dancer and I like to
Mm.
dance. And I tell you, that really just gets it all out.
Okay, Debbie Allen.
You can leave it. I mean, especially if it's to a song that really inspires you, or we're spiritual people, so you got to put on
Yeah.
your praise music or your meditation music, whatever it is that gets you into that zone. That is something that just lays it all out, your
Mm-hmm.
energy. And then when you're physically moving, your endorphins increase.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then when you're stretching and you're drinking lots of water and you're setting boundaries, that takes it to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
Water, physical movement, and setting boundaries literally helps you to identify your peace.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So we going on and on. Go ahead, Faith.
Okay, so community self service, helping others, going out, doing something for someone else. This is a part that's um, selfishly selfless. You go and you make someone else's smile because you know it's going to make you smile. You know that helping other people is going to, in turn, help you. So you're not doing it with no ulterior motives, but the impact is great. So in the end, it all rounds out to being overall good. You're helping yourself help others. Um, and so I find community service of any type always helps me, like knowing that I am helping put a smile on someone else's face brightens up my day, because not in the sense that, like, oh well, you know I'm not in their situation, so my situation isn't as bad. No, I'm not going to diminish how I feel, but I know that I'm in a place to help other people. I can look at my cup as a little bit more full because I get to help other people. I am here today. I am up and I'm moving to help other people, to help put a smile on other people's faces, to know that the little bit that I'm doing, the little bit that I'm trying to reach out actually means something. And therefore, I mean something. So, it kind of, in a way, rolls back to helping myself. So it's a little selfish, but I'm helping other people. So I'm also being, selfishly selfish, selfishly selfless.
I
I
like it.
love it. I
And
love
Faith,
that.
I have to chime in and say that as a junior in college, knowing that, having that emotional intelligence,
Mhm.
that's dope.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And I wish when I was back then, I
Yeah.
had that much, emotional intelligence to recognize that. Don't lose that. That's powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And how often can you say that you, as a young person, Faith, you're actually being able to do the work with our organization and do it in such an impactful way and have this platform and stage to talk to leaders such as Chief Bowden and Miss Hobson about what it is that you're trying to get your education for in psychology? Like, you're actually trying to be the work with the eventually you're going to be working with the first responders to kind of talk somebody off the ledge, or you're working in the schools to kind of stop the bullying or the self-hate and the online, whatever the situation is. We're having these conversations out loud at NCRF because we hear our young people, we see them, we travel all over the nation, and we see the the demise of the
Mhm.
spirit of our African American or Latin youth. We see the demise of them when they are someone special and they're told by their existing community leaders that they don't matter, or need to go sit in the back, or you don't belong, whatever the new phrase that they're using today, is still from the systemic issues that we're trying to break. And that mental health piece, well, Faith she wanted to lead these conversations. And I thought that was important. I said, come on now, bring it.
We here for it. We here for it. That's what it's all about.
But I just want to hear from you guys. In what ways do community service help you, if it helps you?
I think for me, that is that other part of my physical activity, being in community centers and elementary classrooms, where I still, in my own city, outside of the powerful work that we do at Active Minds, in my city, I'm still running around chasing 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Miss Annie, Miss Annie, Miss Annie, Miss Annie. That's a lot of energy. So that is a part of my mental health coping skills. That is a part of how I stay grounded. Spending time with those little faces, spending time having conversations with them about their mental health, that's fitting for their age and not fitting for their age, because sometimes they school me. So, our students, we have to give them more credit. And so I think for me, those babies and being in the spaces with our young people is vital. And that is a part of rejuvenizing me.
It's where it starts. We finding out we got to tap into them earlier and earlier and earlier. I'm sure that's what you see, Annie, out there in the world. I don't know if I have so much time for volunteer service, but I will tell you this. One of the things that I'm very intentional about is looking into the face of anybody that is a service person for me and asking them, kind of like, you good? I say, how you doing today? They're so used to not even hearing it. Sometimes they don't even think I'm talking to them. Oh, I thought you was on the phone. No.
Yep.
I'm asking you, how is your Thursday going today? Sometimes I'm in line longer than I want to be, because like Miss Annie is saying, nobody has asked them that.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, I barely made it. I didn't have enough gas. And I try to give them 5 minutes of affirmations or affirm them, because everybody doesn't do that. And we don't acknowledge our retail clerks enough, our baristas at Starbucks every day. And they know my name. My coffee is made before they see me park, because not because I tip them, but because I love back on them with my good energy.
That's what it's about.
For me, that's community service, is speaking to the community. I talk to my local homeless. I know them all. I know the ones that tell me they don't eat McDonald's, he don't eat fast food, and this, okay, if I buy a sandwich and I got enough money, I'll buy 2, because I know what he likes. So that's kind of my community service. I would say it's done in spurts, throughout the communities that I live.
Yes. I love it. You know what I love about that? Is because we go, going back to the spiritual people, we do all this hooping and hollering in our churches, in our 4 walls, in our mosque, and just whatever, in our inner circles, and we don't apply it to real life. And Chief Boda, you are talking like you out in the street, you want to get to know who's giving you service. What's your name? You look good today. Give them a compliment. Oh, that's a beautiful smile. Or you never know what that could do to a person. Exactly. I want to give a shout out to a woman. I went to go get my nails done, and the cash machine was broken, and they were like, we're only accepting cash, and the cash machine was broken. And the lady sitting next to me, we literally just had a brief conversation, and she texted me in our conversation, like, because we exchanged numbers in like 5 seconds. We exchanged numbers because it was just that energy. And she sent me a text, I got you. Like, you ran out, because I couldn't go because the cash machine was broken. I was like, she said, I got you, sure. And I'm like, I can tell you. She said, no. That blessed me. I was like, I just met you.
And things like that.
The little things.
Yep. Yeah. Powerful to the mental health of others.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so coping skills. Coping skills are individual. You are your own person. What works for somebody else is not going to work for you. It might, but you're going to have to tweak it a little bit to make it work for you, for your time, for your energy, for the way you feel that day. They are individual. But it's also going to be a trial and error because we're in the day of social media and Google, and you can find 50 million different coping skills that everyone's, oh, do this and your life is going to change. I remember I was in middle school and everyone was saying, oh, you want to improve your confidence, you want to improve your self esteem, just tell yourself you're that girl. And I would look in the mirror, I'd be like, girl, bye. Because that didn't work for me. It didn't.
Yep.
But I found that what did work for me was learning to do small things that made me feel like I was that girl. I didn't
Boom.
need to tell myself I was that girl. I needed to feel it.
Mm.
So that means getting up real early to making sure I had the quiet fit on for that day of school, making sure I had the nice fit that
Your
day.
phone went. Wait, hold on. Speak it again. Say it again. Repeat
Oh,
it because it went out.
okay, my bad, my bad. But just making sure
There
I
you go.
did certain things about myself, things that, oh well, I don't like the way these jeans look on me. Okay, well I'm gonna find a pair of jeans that make me feel amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't like the way my hair looks. Okay, well we're gonna make sure that we spend a little bit of extra time doing our hair till it looks right. I'm not going to try to fix things that I can't change, but I am going to make it so that I do feel good about those things. And I found that that was what worked for me. So what
Okay.
works for somebody else isn't going to work for you because they're not you. But that doesn't mean that you can't use what they're using as a template to figure out what does.
Mm-hmm.
But do know that just
Gotcha.
because we see all of these skills running through social media, you don't have to avoid all of them. You don't have to try all of them. But if one doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean you're broken. That doesn't mean that the skill doesn't work. It just doesn't work for you, who you are, the time that you have, and that's okay. Um, yeah, so we're going to go into our questions on coping skills. If you don't mind sharing a coping skill and how you found it or how you kind of personalized it and tweaked it.
While you guys are thinking about that, I'm gonna add somebody to our stream because we're rounding to the end, and you guys are. This conversation is so important. Are you ready, Delia? Thumbs up. Okay. This is Delia Luna. She works with us and she works with young people. Just introduce yourself while you guys are thinking about your answer to your question. How's this conversation? Who are you and how's this conversation been affecting you? Because you've been listening behind the stage.
Uh, so
Uh-oh. I can't hear you.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I work for NCRF. I'm a site coordinator for the movement. I work within the schools. So how this applies to me, I get to see like what goes in to the schools. So like the students, how their mental health is. Like I get to see firsthand and experience all like the different like the different age groups and the different like mental health issues that arise not only within the school but like within the communities. So I think like this, I really resonate with this because I come from a Hispanic household. So my family does not believe in mental health. My family does not believe that anxiety is a thing, that depression is a thing. So that's something that as a person I have really been struggling with right now. So it's hard for me to have an outlet or to have somebody to talk to because as it is like I already go to work and I have to hear like all of these different situations about that the students are facing and I have to be the person to be like, oh, we're going to cope this way, or what do you like to do? So as I'm teaching them how to cope, I'm also learning what works for me and how I can be like of a better resource for not only for them but for me. I get to like share a little bit about me and how my household is, because I'm also the oldest and I'm undocumented. So it's even harder for me to be able to speak up about how I feel, or even just show any emotion in my household, because it's not as a good thing. So just being able to hear about kind of what Faith says, like for everybody, it looks different. Like every coping skill looks different. Like anything looks different depending on where you come from. And I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about how hard it is to just acknowledge that it's okay to feel, or it's okay to have feelings, and it's okay to have your bad days. Because, like, just having depression as it is, it makes you feel some type of way, and you can't really explain it sometimes. Like sometimes you need to vent, or sometimes you just need to cry, sometimes you need to go run, or any other thing that you feel like doing. So I think just being able to hear that, like, I'm not the only one that feels this way, it kind of helps in being able to like help other people too, because of the field that I work at. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. That's just like my input on it.
Wow. I'm just taking that in. That's
Wow.
beautiful.
It is. And there's so much strength behind what you just said, because you're representing another community of color. You're representing some of the same, issues and barriers that we all are talking about. And we're talking about the importance of breaking those barriers, especially for our young people, as they are, we're dependent on our young people to continue these conversations, to facilitate these conversations in schools and spaces. The work that I do at Active Minds, Chief Bowden, Faith, we're all in this space together. Denise, we're all in it together. So it's nice and powerful to see faces of color having this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Color Girl Magic is talking now. Color Girl Magic. We added some extra colors.
Sprinkle it.
Sprinkle it. All the flavors. So how do you guys feel, just based on that question, your coping skills? Faith did a leading question, and Delia, you explained it so beautifully. How do you guys feel about coping?
Okay, I think Faith actually nailed it. You see other things and you pick up, you pick up and you drop. You pick up and you drop. And for me, I think one of the coping skills, Faith, that I picked up is actually cleaning. Cleaning is so peaceful for
me. Oh, that's good.
It's peaceful. It is peaceful. Cleaning and organizing. And after you do it, you feel, man, what else can I tackle?
Light a nice little candle.
Yes, light a nice candle. Yes, that scent. Yes, it hits all the senses. Wow. So cleaning has been therapeutic for me. And we've had several students at Active Minds share just that, cleaning and organizing. And just conversations that I facilitated with them, cleaning and organizing. And that's one of mine as well.
Wow. Chief Bowden, real quick.
I'm not sure about the coping skill. I like what you were saying about Faith, when you were talking about kind of how you affirm yourself, that yours is more of a physical. You talked about the hair and, my favorite pair of jeans and things like that. So some of my, one of the things that I have is on my alarm. First thing, I got to touch it and I have to look at it on my phone. It says, "Good morning, Chief. Let's slay today." So we starting it off, yes, I'm gonna thank my higher spirit for, getting me through the night and giving me another day. But I'm right about nobody's stealing my joy. And we're gonna start this day off with, with a cup full, right? And take it from there. So that there's that part for me. Is I think mine is written when I was going for promotions, whatever that next promotion was. I had laminates of them all over the place on my bathroom mirror. When I dropped my visor down, I was going for the bigger chief position. You drop my visor down because the sun is in my face to say, Good day, Chief. And it's just a picture of a whole bunch of people, you know, a lot of people in uniform saluting. So those are the things, like, I don't care how I got in the car. If somebody upset me when I get in my car and I put this visor down, it's me. You have to reward yourself, right?
Man,
Man,
chills.
I got
Right?
chills. No.
She
I
on
got
Mary J. Blige. Good morning, gorgeous.
what? No, I got chills because I could just see you, like you're putting on that armor in your head, in your mindset, that you're going into the battlefield, and you are responsible for the lives that are on those pictures that you pull down. You like, I got to have the mentality of leadership.
Yeah.
And you're oh man, I got chills. And that's how you feel. You feel like, I feel the same way when we're out here doing the work, the great work for the Black College Expo and the initiatives we do within NCRF on the movement, on all our other programs. I feel like every time I feel down, and then we start talking to young people, it like all that extra negative energy just bounces off, and it just like, no, it's nothing but good vibrations, and you just feel pumped up, energized, ready to, slay the day. That's what really needs to happen. People need to give more, give in good spaces. Like, really, that really affirms what you're telling yourself or reading and, on social media. Like, it affirms it when you actually do it. Like, you actually do it. Powerful.
Wow.
Powerful. Go ahead,
Okay,
Faith.
we're going to touch on self-care, and then I'm going to hand it over to Miss Annie, because I know she has a lot she wants to say on this one. But why would you not take care of yourself? At the end of the day, you are with you. You are always going to be followed by you. So the least you can do for you is take care of you. Make sure that you're good. And this is something that you can do whenever. If you got to schedule a day where it's just you with you and you're taking care of you and you ain't doing nothing but taking care of you and making sure you feel good, then that's what you got to do. And you got to be selfish with that. You don't budge with making sure you have that time. And that is perfectly okay. And where is wherever you want it to be. If that means going and taking yourself on a picnic, then you're at the park with it. If that's cleaning up your house and making sure that you feel good in your space, then that's where you're at with it. And it's wherever you choose to have that selfish time. Because at the end of the day, it's selfish time. It's time for you. So no one can take that away from you and where you choose to do it. But on to Miss Annie, because I know she has a lot to say on self-care.
Well, I'll touch on it and share this wealth. But one of the things that we are definitely working on at Active Minds is creating a resource hub. Your voice is your power. And so we want that hub to be a space where high school and college students can come, and they can literally, like you're in a library, grab resources about different things that affect them. And one of the things that we have been talking about or two of the things that we've been talking about is skincare and perfectionism. So starting first with skincare, we don't, and I learned this actually not just with students, interacting with students at Active Minds, but my own niece. I didn't realize how detrimental her skin was to being in her groups, with her friend groups. And I really had to step back and take some time, because she deals with psoriasis, and she also deals with eczema. And so I'm like, girl, just it's fine. Ain't nobody looking at you. Ain't nobody looking at you. You're fine. And she really, really started focusing on her self-care, became making skincare products for Black skin. And she's awesome at it. But it started from her anxiety, because she's going in a space with her peers and she has blemishes, or her skin is different tones. And she's taken that self-care method, turned it into a small business, and improved her skin to the point where when I have issues, I call my niece. Right. I'm not depending on, commercials or what I'm seeing on TV, because half the time the products don't fit us anyway. I call my niece. And that self-care technique turned into something big for her. And when she has anxiety, because she has anxiety, when she deals with it, when it flares up, that is one of the things that she goes to, she gravitates to. And so at Active Minds, we want a resource hub, and we are creating this resource hub. Again, your voice is your power, where you can literally grab information about skincare for melanated skin. You can grab a resource about hair care. You can grab a resource about perfectionism and how it manifests in Black and Brown students, how it manifests in students in general. But that is one of the things that we are working on, because self-care does not, Faith, you nailed it again. Self-care does not look the same for everyone, and is always going to be very unique to our Black and Brown community. And when we are focusing on the needs of our Black and Brown community, we have to be very intentional. And so that is one of the pieces that I'm excited to work on and share and talk about as far as self-care goes.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, so we are going to close out with our Active Minds opportunities. So,
Well, before you close out with the Active Mind, well, Annie, you definitely really talked about a lot, and I want to make sure I give you some acknowledgement on all the initiatives that you're doing. And I know, Faith, you're going to explain this one, but this one right here is so powerful. Even though you're going to explain it, Annie, I know. But you still got to explain it in a way where people say, I know, but this is the reason why. So go ahead, Faith. I'm sorry. I had to do some. There's a reason why there's a lead in.
So Active Minds has a couple of opportunities, actually. And so to start off, their Active Minds Advocacy Academy, the deadline just closed. I'm sorry, I can't help you on that one.
But it shouldn't stop you from checking it out, because it comes again. It's not something that's a one-time thing. It comes again.
But explain what it is.
Okay.
That is, I mean, it's so powerful.
It is. Our Active Minds Advocacy Academy, it gives a space. It is a paid opportunity for high school students to, this year it's going to be a week, and it's July 24th through 28th, that whole week. And our students are engaging with different professionals in, the political space, the advocacy space, and they're learning how to advocate for mental health awareness in their communities, in their schools, but they're surrounded with support. They're surrounded with Active Mind support. Our staff, we're doing presentations on health equity. We're doing presentations on policy 101. And so students are learning about these different pieces. And ultimately what they're doing in the end is building their own campaign, where they're taking it back to their schools or their communities. So that could be a stress less week. They can take it to their communities. Faith, I know you mentioned that you just finished midterms. Did I hear you say that? Yeah. So having a stress less week before midterms or even after. So taking these different, everything that they learn and putting it together and building a campaign for their community or their school. And in the end, they do that, and they also get paid for doing that. So that is a powerful opportunity for our BIPOC and LGBTQ students.
And people can reach you at, that's your email there.
Yes.
Annie at activeminds.org. And just to ask questions about your K through 12 initiatives.
Yep. And we have so many.
Yeah, I looked at your site, and it's really powerful. Both of you guys have powerful sites. I mean, I wish I could show the videos on both of you guys' sites. Chief Bowden, your cityemt.org site it makes me want to join. And then the Active Minds site has tons of videos which promote their K through college kind of initiatives. I saw that you guys have a lot of stuff even on campuses all across this nation. And your organization was started upon a serious tragedy of the loss of the brother.
Yes. So our founder actually started Active Minds after finishing her freshman year in college. Her brother took his own life, and he suffered in silence, blaming himself. And so, Allison realized, I get back to campus, there are no supports for me. No one's talking about this. This woman created this organization based on her pain and said, you know what, no more. We need to have these conversations. We need to be talking about this. We need to break this silence and continuously break this silence and normalize it, so that our students, like Faith is doing, like our students can have these conversations and feel safe while they're doing them.
Yeah.
And so our job is to provide our students with the resources that they need to do so and support them and let them lead. Let them facilitate those conversations because they know what one another want to hear. And we're there for backup.
Well, I think this is a good time to close out. But before we close, I'm bringing Delia back on. She wants to just say something, final to, I guess, to close it out. Faith, do you have any? I want everybody to go around to say something. But Faith, this was awesome. I want to give kudos to Faith for putting this together. Active Minds, thank you for joining us. Chief Bowden, cityemt.org. That's, amazing.
Yes, thank you.
But I want, right? But I want to hear from each one of you guys what this conversation has meant to you. Just for this last hour, how has it affected you? Do you think that we're, teachers, what has it done for you for this hour? Anybody can start.
I'll start. Not so much for me, but for the young adults that I pour into in my workforce development. It has given me more awareness about the mental health, the suicide rates, and things like that. They do unlayer in our healing circles. I am amazed at some of the things that they are dealing with, because they walk into our classrooms with a smile and they got all of this stuff packed in their head or left in their car, right? So it's making me kind of revisit and make sure, because as parents and as the leader, sometimes you think that you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing or that you can do. And I walk away saying, you have got to do more. That's what I walk away saying. From the mental health side, if you really want to impact the youth, it's an unmeasurable token, because you don't get to see it data-wise outside of they are healthy, and in trusting that you are making them better people with better coping skills. You are providing a resource. All of those bullet points that Faith spoke of, I want to fold those into my organization more. So I thank you. How, whatever it was that lined us up for me to be sitting in this space with you ladies today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. This has been so powerful, just seeing, first of all, just seeing all of this melanin. Just seeing all of the melanin that's popping on here. That alone is powerful. And also for me, it is affirming, extremely impactful to see students like Faith leading this conversation, and to know that after I'm not in the game, Faith is picking up that baton and making sure that our Black and Brown students are continuing this conversation about mental health. That alone is just, that's chilling. That gives me chills. So Faith, big ups to you. And thank you for the platform and the space to have the conversation. And to meet a Black chief. Love it.
That's right. Delia, how has this experience just been for you today? You disappeared. What happened?
But for me, I want to work in the field. I want to be.
Your phone, you're going in and out. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to work in the field of mental health. So I want to go back. I'm currently applying for my master's to go back to do either mental health counseling or any type of counseling. But it has made me more aware of my community and like the struggles that my community faces, or like not just mine but others around me. I think like the one thing that I'm very grateful about is kind of like being able to hear from other people that this is also going on, that like Faith, for example, that you gave us a platform to express the way that we feel, or like just to say how we cope in our own way about just the struggles that we face. Because I think that like even after COVID, we see a lot of students, a lot of my students, they're seventh graders, and you hear like, oh, they've tried to commit suicide, or that they smoke, or like all of these different things just to help them cope. And they don't really have a place where they can go to where they feel safe, or just someone to talk to, whether it's like sitting next to them and like seeing them cry, or having that person that is just kind of your support system. Like I had mentioned, I didn't have that, so being able to be that person for other people is heartwarming. It makes me want to be the change in the future, so it makes me want to help my community see that stuff like this is real, that just because you're healthy physically does not mean that you're actually healthy. Like it's something that you go through, or like even if your head, like that's why a lot of people I feel like commit suicide, because no one really talks about the monster that you have, like the monster that you're currently fighting inside your head, because it's not visible to other people. Like yes, when you get hurt physically, like other people can see it, other people know that you need help, but sometimes when you grow up like me, you don't really talk about it because you're taught not to talk about anything that you go through, or anything that you feel, or anything that you suffer, which makes it that much harder to receive the help that you get. So being able to have like a platform like this, that we can just express that these are some of the concerns that happen in real life, it makes it more of like, I guess, an advancement in how we can fix it, or how we can help others around us, or even ourselves, just deal with things like mental health.
Thank you. Thank you. Faith, close us out.
All right. Well, the mental health segment for Elevate Your Game is my baby. So seeing how it's coming into play and how I kind of get to expand on the different topics that I know people don't just talk about. And then when people talk about them, they talk about them in passing. So being able to have these conversations, it excites me. It lets me know, um, I'm on the right path. I'm doing all the things that high school me said I probably would never be able to do. So it definitely shines a little light in my heart, being able to have these experiences and talk and have these conversations, and kind of open up a platform for other people to be like, hey, I saw this video, like we should talk about this, or however the conversation may go. But knowing that it's a possibility to happen kind of, makes my heart warm a little.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Elevate Your Game, being proactive in your mental health and wellness. Thank you to my wonderful guests, Chief Attica Bowden at the San Francisco Fire Department, and also in her wonderful EMT program. You can definitely, I put all the information in the chat in our comments section. You can find her and her organization in the comments. And then again, Miss Annie Hobson from Active Minds, you are an advocate. Thank you for all your work that you're doing and your organization is doing. You have joined our expos in a robust way. You're also leaning in on other initiatives with us, and I thank you for your service. And again, to my wonderful other special guests, my team members who we work side by side with one another. We travel together, we work together, we are doing the work, and we also hold each other accountable. We check in with one another. I know that we do. And if we don't do it enough, I'm going to do it some more. Now that I have this conversation, I'm going to do it some more and more and more. You're going to get annoyed by me. I'm telling you right now. But I want to thank our audience for listening. This was a longer segment because it was important. Again, this is Elevate Your Game. Until next week, I'll see you soon.